You're tapped in with your boy Kojo Efriye. First of all, just want to say thanks to any new subscribers. We are building the channel. I'm having a lot of fun, and I appreciate every subscriber, every comment, good or bad. I appreciate all of it. So hope everybody's having a great day. There's a lot going on in the world as always. So we're gonna tap into a few things. I want to jump into the first thing I want to jump into before I get into the more serious stuff. We had a flight attendant who got fired on her day off. Now, she got fired for doing a twerk video. So let me play this. I thought this was an interesting story, but let me play this real quick.
She made headlines as the twerking flight attendant who lost her job after this video went viral. Now she's speaking out in an interview with our Amber Cogliano.
She's the flight attendant whose twerking cost her her dream job.
I didn't think that, being so happy can turn into something like this.
Nell Diallo was having a great time dancing and twerking in the aisle on an empty plane before an early morning flight.
I decided to just take advantage of the moment to wake myself up and kind of get myself like hyped up for my day, basically.
She posted the video on TikTok along with the caption.
Let me pause this for a minute. Well, first thing is that if you go to do a twerk video, you shouldn't film it. You know what I'm saying? Because oh man, look, everybody want to be on camera. I get it, but the twerk videos at work probably not the best look. So let this keep playing on.
What's wrong with a little twerk before work? But after the video went viral, she says Alaska Airlines fired her.
What did they say to you?
They just said that I broke their social media policy.
Nell had only been on the job for 6 months. She says she was twerking to celebrate the end of her probationary period.
Why did you decide to post the video?
And I was really proud of myself that I came so far. I just didn't think that my video and my post and the way I was dancing would be deemed as inappropriate.
So how did you feel in that meeting when they told you you lost your job?
I put on such a proud face every time I stepped on that plane. And for them to terminate me without giving me a chance, it just was unfair.
A representative
Listen, hold on. Let me let this play real quick.
from Alaska Airlines tells us they don't comment on personnel matters.
Well, of course, they don't comment on personnel matters. It's basically pretty simple. Now, if you're gonna do a twerk video, ladies, don't do it at the job on camera, especially if you're representing the company. Now, if you're doing a video and you don't have on a uniform and you're not representing the company in that way, cool. But a flight attendant, of course, is gonna come back and everything goes viral these days. Now, I'm just keep it funky. If she was reckless looking and she wasn't pretty, it may not have mattered. But that's why she went viral. She's a pretty girl. She got on there, got her twerk on, and then it got a lot of views. But if I were her, I think someone should have advised her because yeah, listen, everybody want to be on camera these days, and when you doing this, stuff like that's gonna happen. So unfortunately, she ended up getting fired. But I thought that was an interesting story. Let me move on though, man. Listen, Angie Stone, RIP to Angie Stone. We lost another one. 63 years old is just way too young to be passing away. So let me get on to Angie Stone. Now, she did pass away. She was coming back from Alabama after a tour date, and it looks like the Benz Sprinter van went off the road. It's a little weird. It's a little sketchy the way it looks. I saw pictures of the accident, but nonetheless, it went off the road and then ended up getting hit by a semi. So I want to play a little bit of Angie Stone because she is talking about. There's a lot of rumblings on the internet talking about she may have gotten taken out because not too long ago she talked about money that she was owed from Universal Music Group. I'm going to play a little bit of that and talk about it. So let me let this rock. Let's see here. All right, let's play this. Angie Stone. Man, you know what? And before I even played it, listen, Angie Stone, she got such a soft place in my heart because she made that song Black Brother, and man, I'm telling you, it is really one of those songs that just touched me. It's like one of the best songs that have ever been dedicated to the black man. So one time for Angie Stone. Let me play this real quick. Let's play that. There we go. No, actually not that one. I want to share the one where she talks about the music industry first, and then I'll get on to the other one. There we go. Let's play that.
I'm just here to let you know I am so outdone with things that have been going on in and around me.
Oh, no, it's not even sharing. Give me 1 second here. Let me do that again. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, let me share that screen. Du-du-du-du-du. Yeah, let's get back on that. Nonetheless, let me get this playing real quick here. There we go. Let me play that real quick.
Looking forward to 2025. I want y'all to go like and share, get some people on this live, mainly because I'm about to reveal some stuff that Lord just told me to talk about today. Going out of this year, going into a new year, I need to bring you guys up to speed with some things that I've kept very.
If you're a busy professional that's trying to supplement your income with day trading, stop and watch
that out of there.
Personal and to myself, some things I wanted to share and other things I didn't want to share, but now I'm okay to reveal some things that is probably going to shock some people. So I'm going to give you a little bit more time to get some people in here because it was a lot for me to get on here and do this. I mean, this last month has been trying. First out, I want to shout out all the people in Detroit. I had a show that was supposed to be with Music Soul Child, Marsha Ambrosia. Shout out to Raheem Devon for standing in for me. I had something happen that caused me not to be there, but God just needed to sit me down so I could focus on me. So before I go into just, what I experienced, what I went through, I want to let you guys know I almost didn't make it through this process because it was something that just kind of hit me. It was a day or so before I was scheduled to fly out to Detroit. And I was very excited. All the tickets were bought, the hotels were paid for, the band was ready to go. And then I got hit with this uh, crazy news, and it kind of threw me for a loop. So I figured I better share it with you all, and you can pass it on because just because we're in the industry doesn't mean we're not human. Things happen all the time, and unfortunately, when this happened, I just wasn't prepared for it. But anyway, it caused me to miss that show that I was super, super excited about. Go ahead and get somebody come back to the live. Like I said, I don't want to have to say it again. I haven't even told my team that I was going on today. I just threw up my light and just put on a little something just so I could
Angie Stone. One time.
Get with you guys. All right, we got some people in the room now. I'm gonna wait for about 10 or 15 more people to get on, and then I'll share a couple of things with you that are going to be shocking. Uh, but anyway, nonetheless, I just want to say hi to all the people that are joining my live. Let me just see who you are. Let me see.
Let's go on to where she talks about
Denise Pretty.
money.
For them. Somebody's calling my line, but I can't let me see, can I get 70 to 100 people in the room right now before I reveal some very, very interesting information? Get in the way of the gift of sharing with my fans. Okay. We're at 45. Let me get 50. Let me get 60. And I'm going to give y'all 5 more minutes to get some more people on this live. And it's steadily climbing the chart. So if you guys have never heard of mechanicals, they've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the money that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence.
I'm gonna pause it there. So when she talks about mechanical royalties, a lot of people don't understand what mechanical royalties. So I know a little bit about the music game. So mechanical royalties are essentially monies that are paid off of every album sold. So the record company, when the record company pays out a mechanical royalty, so it's broken down into a certain amount per album sold, right? And then it's broken down into like let's say that she's a writer. As a writer and a performer, because she's not just a great songwriter, but she's also an artist. Mechanical royalties are paid to the artist by the record company. So the record company is supposed to pay a certain amount off of every record to the artist, whatever that contract is negotiated. But many times the music industry is the most treacherous game in the world. So they find little weird ways to not pay the artist, to absorb the royalties, to apply royalties that are supposed to be paid to her, maybe to something else. And also, a lot of times, like she's saying, they don't even register the songs correctly. That's one of the biggest things. So let me let it keep playing on.
So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. What I learned how to do was go out, work hard, get paid, come home, pay my bills, take care of my family.
What up, is Mr. X to the Z Exhibit YTB. Just keep it.
So I'm gonna let it play. Let me let it rock there. But you know what? This is what happens most of the time when you have artists. Most of the money that they make is on tour. 9 times out of 10, the money that they make from mechanical royalties or record sales is often not paid to them. You know, they'll find a million different ways to screw the artist 6 ways to Sunday, as they say. So, RIP to Angie Stone, you know, but a lot of people there's rumblings on the internet that maybe, maybe she was taken out because, she figured out that Universal owed her a lot of money. I really don't know. Universal, they owe a lot of people money. A lot of the big record companies, the main ones, they definitely find ways not to pay artists. And then on top of that, if you have a bad attorney, God help you, because the attorneys can screw people over as well. So, RIP to Angie Stone, 63 years old is just way too young. She did have some health issues she talked about a couple of months ago also, but man, I'm telling you, that Black Brother song, that's always in my heart. So, RIP to her. I'm going to move on, and I want to talk about the economic blackout, right? So over the weekend, obviously the last day of the year, we talked about, or everyone talked about, um, blacking out the economy or not buying anything the 28th. Now, here's the thing. I really don't know if that makes any sense anymore. And my thing about the economic blackout is what's really the point? Why are we doing it? So there's a lot of different narratives that people are throwing out there. And I listen, I'm really trying to figure out where we're going. So part of the economic blackout, there's a couple different messages. One, there's like a the black communities part of it, and then you have the greater, I don't know, the greater liberal activist society that are including other people who are saying that this blackout is about getting back at the corporation. So I really don't know what it's really about, but I think that boycotts are good if there's a stated mission. And I think that the stated mission, I really don't know if it's about um some are saying it's about DEI, but then we have talked about DEI many times on this channel. And many people understand now that DEI benefits mostly white women. So I'm not really sure what this is about. To be honest with you, I'm really trying to figure out what we're doing here. So I'm gonna go over to talk about that for a little bit. I want to get to just to talk about this, and I had a video I'm gonna play because the the actual messaging is strange. So let's get to that real quick and we'll play that. So why are Americans participating in a blackout? Now the next blackout is supposed to be, I believe, March 28th. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to play this video real quick and we'll talk about that. So let's see here. Let me share that. And let me know if if you end up watching this live or catching it after. Let me know in the comments if you participated in the blackout. I want to understand why people are doing it because the messaging is all over the place. So let's play this.
Americans, rather, across the country won't swipe their credit cards today, and that's because a nationwide protest is calling for a so-called economic blackout. Organizers of the 24-hour boycott are basically telling people to not buy anything online or in store, and the goal here is to take a stand against rising prices and showcase the power of everyday people. So on that note, let's bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, thanks for joining us today on a Friday. This is only for 24 hours. We don't know exactly how many Americans are actually going to take part in this, but what happens if Americans stop spending for a day?
So look, if they stop spending for a day, it's not going to be that dramatic of an impact when you look at a Walmart or an Amazon, because of course it's not going to be everyone that stops spending, even though this movement does have a lot of traction on social media. But I think where this could evolve is you also have this group calling for targeted boycotts of Walmart for a week in the future, Amazon for a week in the future. This 24-hour economic blackout is supposed to be just the start. And if it does gain enough traction, the idea is to roll out even further down the road. It is going to be hard to quantify, as you suggest. 24 hours, it's not like Walmart, Amazon, and some of these major retailers that are specifically targeted in this boycott. They're not going to release their sales numbers for the day. But I think back to the Bud Light boycott, for example, where for months consumers said, no, I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to go buy an alternative. So we have seen this type of sentiment and boycott work in the past. And we did reach out to Walmart, Amazon, and the other retailers that have been targeted in this boycott. They're not commenting on the planned boycott. But what I will say, Mugo, is it does seem to have tapped into this customer frustration that is very timely with higher prices, not feeling like your income is surpassing inflation. And I do think that's why you have seen it take off on social media. Whether that actually translates into the store is something that we're going to have to monitor.
All right, we'll wait and see. But
so, this is something that I think that, the messaging seems to be the broader American society, but I think that this is all starting from the DEI rollback from a lot of these corporations. And it kind of started, I know Al Sharpton tried to do something or started to do something as far as a boycott before this with Costco, and then Costco apparently brought back their DEI. So, I really don't know if it's something that is now supposed to be spreading out to everyone else. But the boycott in and of itself, I'm trying to understand. And I asked a few people if they're going to participate. I know a few people who decided not to buy on the 28th, but I don't see anything that's changed. I don't see anything that's going to change in 24 hours. So, let me play another video because I was actually looking at that video was, a little bit more centered towards the broader America, but let me talk about this other video real quick because this one was more centered towards our audience. So let me play that real quick here. And I really want to understand what we're doing, you know, because I feel like this is just another part of an anti-Trump, anti-Republican, and this is all going to be tied to Democrat, liberal. And it's becoming a narrative that we're trying to get back at the system. And I think for the black community, how do we get back at the system? We need to focus together and focus on supporting our businesses, focus on spending money in our communities, spending on investing in things that are going to benefit us. And I think that's where we're getting lost. So a lot of this, to me, the economic blackout is in another emotional exercise, unless there's a targeted, planned goal. I just don't see. It's like the Montgomery boycott. There was a specific objective they were trying to get done. It lasted about a year, and they ended up, solving it. There's other boycotts that's happened since then, but this boycott is so out of the blue, and who's participating in it and why they're participating isn't clear. So let me go over here. So this is another video I'm going to play real quick because this one, let me go over here. And again, you guys let me know what you think about this because I'm lost. I'm really at a loss as to what we're doing here. So let me go over here real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I had that video ready. I think I clicked off of it, but I'll find it in 1 second here. Okay, yeah, this is the one I wanted to play actually. So let me go over here and share this real quick. Try to find out what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm talking about my community. What are we doing and why are we doing it? That's what I want to know. Because when I looked at the back and forth. I watched all the posts on Facebook, all the social media. A lot of people were like, yo, at least the blackout is a start and I ain't spending no money. And people on Thursday on the 27th were like, yo, I'm gonna get all my gas. I'm gonna do double shopping on Thursday. So I don't gotta buy nothing on Friday. But again, if you're gonna hit the corporations, not shopping on Friday doesn't change anything. If you buy a bunch of stuff on Thursday, don't buy stuff on Saturday and then buy stuff again. Excuse me. If you don't buy anything on Thursday, or excuse me, if you big double shop Thursday, don't buy anything on Friday, and then Saturday you back shopping, it don't make no difference to the corporation. The corporations are gonna make bread. On top of that, who are you really hurting? Most of those corporations are just the employees are just everyday people. You're talking about Walmart, Target, Amazon, I know a lot of people who are working in the warehouse at Amazon, or I know some people who work in that warehouse at Amazon, people who working at Target or Walmart. They're not making a lot of money. If you don't shop there, you're not really hurting the corporation. They're going to make money regardless. You understand? So there has to be a stated goal. So let me play this and then I'll get off this because this is just crazy. All right, let's go over here to this.
Hey, good morning to you both. You may have seen the movement spreading on social media, especially on Instagram, telling people to stop spending for the next 24 hours this Friday. It's basically an economic blackout. No spending on your credit cards, no cash, no filling up your gas, no groceries, nothing to eat, even at fast food chains. Why? It's telling people to stand up for their principles and against policies they don't agree with.
we realize the cycle is they get their money from people like us who give them the ability to utilize our dollars. Take it back. We start from the root and we build from the ground up.
Friday, February 28th. For the next 24 hours, shoppers are being asked to skip buying essentials from big box stores, protesting major retailers who've dumped DEI initiatives. Some of those stores include Target, Walmart, and Amazon. This comes after the Trump administration eliminated federal diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. People's Union USA is behind the charge.
The full 24-hour economic blackout where we do not spend a single penny. No Walmart, no Amazon, no gas, no fast food, no corporate giants, nothing. This is about showing them that without us, they have nothing, that our dollars hold the power, and together we can disrupt this system that has taken advantage of us for far too long.
The movement making their next move March 28th, suggesting consumers stand up to corporate greed as giants like Nestle and General Mills grow wealthier, and most Americans are struggling to pay their bills and afford groceries. If you do.
Okay. So that was the one I wanted to play. That one was a little bit more centered around what I wanted to talk about. So the messaging is wild. Again, I think that, again, a lot of this is spawned off of the backs of the Black community and this idea of boycotting. And if you talk about Nestle and General Mills and all these are companies, they've been around forever. Corporate greed is a whole other conversation. If we want to talk about corporate greed, that's one thing. But the things that combat corporate greed would be small independent businesses. So I think that if you wanted to change any of that, you could shop independent. But, again, you're hearing one thing, you're hearing DEI, the pullback of DEI. Now, that's typically coming technically from our community a little bit, and then it's spreading out to other people talking about DEI. And then there's this whole corporate greed. We're going to attack corporate greed by showing them we're not going to buy. But unless you're going to stop buying altogether, it ain't making any difference. So again, I think that right now, a lot of this is all part of the Trump craze. Everybody is all over the place. Emotionally, people are all over the place trying to figure out what to do. Now, when it comes to inflation, when it comes to prices being up, when it comes to all the issues that are going on right now, it's not technically the corporations that are causing people not to be able to afford day-to-day living, So let me get over to another video though. I wanted to play this video. Now, this is John Hope Bryant. He was on Cam Newton's show, and I played a little bit of this podcast last stream I did. I think this stream is really good or this particular podcast is good with Cam and John Hope Bryant, because they talked about a few things. And again, this could be applied to our community, the Black community, or you could apply it to the broader society. But right now, there's a lot of emotionalism going on right now, and unless we're going to go to some form of socialism, which is probably never going to happen in America. And here's the thing: let's be honest about Americans, right? I think Americans, we talk about socialism, we talk about it. Some people talk about it and act like, okay, I would like that. But at the same time, people like capitalism as long as it's working for them, And people also in America, maybe it's just my opinion, we like capitalism because the idea is that maybe I could get rich, maybe I could get ahead and get my money and level up, And do people really want it where everybody gets the same thing all the time? Everybody's getting the equal amount of whatever? Nah, I think America's based on, if you can come up with an idea, a product or service, this is a country that you can make it happen. So capitalism, people act like they don't like it, but I think it's just the fabric of America. So I don't think capitalism is necessarily the issue right now. But let me play this for a minute, and then we'll talk about it. This is the ruthless game of capitalism.
What is your definition of wealth?
Mindset.
That's it.
All poverty except sustenance poverty, roof over your head, reasonable health care, food on the table. All other forms of poverty, those things shouldn't even be an issue. That's humanity. All other forms of poverty are mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get funky now.
Talk to me nice.
Let's get, and I'm gonna talk to you nice, but your audience is not gonna like it.
Come on with it.
Somebody is listening to this and go, you know, this John Bryan, all that stuff. Look, just give me the money. You know, I'm not gonna tell you what net worth is, but I ain't hurting. Just give me his money. Okay, I'm gonna give you my money. I'm gonna give you Cam's money. I'm gonna give you everybody that Cam and I know. Stephen A. Smith, Charlemagne, everybody. We're gonna give you all our money. In fact, I'm gonna give you all the wealth in the world. You got it. Here's what's gonna happen. If we don't change anything else, we're gonna have it back in 3 years.
So handsome.
I think. Oh, I can't buy this. What's wrong?
Hang on there.
70% of all those who win the lottery, Cam, bankrupt in 5 years.
No way.
70%. I hate to tell you, but 70% of all NFL players and 70% of all NBA players bankrupt in 5 years of retirement. That's why one of the many reasons why you're a role model in how you're flowing, what you're building, how you're perceiving, how you're getting. You're constantly building because you understand it's the sports business.
Mm-hmm.
It's the business of sports, and so it's the entertainment business. These other folks thought that the money was going to last forever. That's what I was saying with that clip I did about you.
We're gonna talk about it.
So money ain't everything. In fact, money's nothing. Money is just, Omari, I can take your shirt, turn it backwards, and write on the back of your shirt, pay to the order of Omari, $20,000. I can write the account number and a routing number, and I can sign it. And technically, you could take your shirt to the bank, and they would have to cash it. A check is just, they just literally created like a check. But all I'm doing is transferring value. Money is a transfer of value. But what do we obsess about? Money. It's nothing. That's why most Bitcoin, sorry, not Bitcoin, most cryptocurrencies, there were 20,000 cryptocurrencies created. I believe it's 18,001.
Now, money ain't nothing. It is something. But, you know, again, I think it's just about the mindset. So what happens is most of the time when it comes to people who get ahead, look, we all don't start off in the same place in life. So there's many factors that come into play as far as how you're going to end up financially, you know, in the beginning. But most of the people who get ahead, they figure out a way. It's going to come down to if you can create a product or a service. And also outside of that, just regular people wealth. I'm not talking about gajillionaire, but just doing better for yourself. Most of the time it comes down to making the right decisions. It's all about making the right decisions and being educated on what you're doing. And that's what we fight against most of the time. So you need to understand that it's mindset, and there's a poor mindset and there's an abundance rich mindset. And that's one of the biggest things that I think people are missing. So when it comes to our community, that's why I think the boycotts this time around, I don't think is going to push us forward. I think right now for our community, there's so much vitriol for the government right now, and the government can't figure this stuff out. You know, I do think that if we can get to a point where we stop spending so much money in the government, I think smaller government is probably going to be a better idea for America. I also think initiatives that are focused on America first are going to be a better idea. But in relation to our community, the Black community, we have to really focus on mindset and passing that energy on to our kids so we can really start to build our communities back up. You know, he goes into this a little bit further, even as far as our neighborhoods, buying the real estate in our neighborhoods, making sure that we are not blowing money. I mean, as Black people, we have a huge consumer reach. I mean, we're talking about 1.8 billion 1.8 billion. I mean, that's more than a lot of countries' GDP. So we have huge buying power, but what we spend our money on, how we spend our money on, it's not about weaponizing the money. It's really about saying, okay, what is our objective? What are the things that we want in our communities, and starting to put that money in that direction. So the emotion has to be taken out of it. And I think that's what happens most of the time is everybody's playing on our emotions.
Bust. Who are the biggest investors? Black people, because we're trying to get rich quick. We're so frustrated. We're trying to find a way. And because we're financially literate, we're complete targets. I have no problem with cryptocurrency. Just don't use your rent money. But if you really want to be smart, go to the exchange system, the technology under blockchain technology, under the currency. That's the real.
Listen, and let me talk about that for a minute. No, everybody, we're all worried about DEI right now. DEI is nothing. What people should be concerned about, and I don't want to say be concerned, but they should either be concerned, excited, or curious about AI. That's where the difference is. AI is coming, and AI is going to eliminate many, many millions and millions and millions of jobs. That's just what it is. AI is going to come into play. So while we're sitting back, worried about DEI or someone taking away civil rights, these are not the issues of today. So again, what I'm talking about as far as our community boycotting, boycotting won't solve AI. That's what's really coming into play. So are we preparing for AI? Do we have our kids prepared for AI? Are we thinking about that? Or we still think we're fighting for the same civil rights that we were fighting for 60, 70 years ago? And that's where I think things are getting lost. So let me play a little bit more of his video, and then I'm going to get into Diddy real quick.
Deal. So there's a game that's being played, and we got to understand it. It's not about money. Money's irrelevant. It's about wealth. And wealth, let's be practical. What's the number one way you build wealth in America? Home ownership. 75% of my white counterparts own a home. That ain't by accident. The entire tax system is designed to encourage home ownership. You write off the mortgage payment. You write off the depreciation. You'll be able to depreciate this building, by the way. This is the tax write-off. You get the appreciation. You get all the value creation. But only 44% of Black people own a home. I curse people out about this. Like, what are you doing? You're renting some with money you don't have and places that don't want you to impress people you don't know about shit that don't matter. Stop it. Knock it off. That's low self-esteem. Go buy in the hood, DA-HOD, a hood adjacent, buy the worst house in the best block. A hood in France is called Paris. A hood in the UK is called London. A hood in Turkey is called Istanbul. This is like inner city, centrally located real estate. And we're giving it away. Every hood in America is a gold mine. Between where we are and the airport is the next gold mine. Buy it and do not sell it. So, but I'll be on a show and people if it was a call-in show, somebody would call it. Yo, man, I don't like what John Bryan's saying. We know we don't own the home. The bank owns a home. If you don't pay,
Yeah. I mean, I've had these conversations before on the pod too. Real estate is one of those things that, I think everybody should definitely buy. And it is one of those things that we got to get our kids to do it younger, and when you buy real estate, listen, even if you're not a real estate investor on that level, you cannot lose. So I think that just at bare minimum, yes, everybody should be trying to own where they live. Right now, the real estate market sucks because the affordability, the interest rates, that's a whole nother show. So that is a big barrier to entry for a lot of people right now. But I do think that, again, that is a big part. Wealth is a mindset. I'm not Mr. Moneybags. I don't have all the money in the world, but I do realize that a lot of the mistakes people make is just mindset. And that's the biggest That's the biggest issue. And it's hard to change the mindset in this day and age. And that's, again, I've talked about this last stream. That's one of my biggest fears for the Black community, is that we're just fed a lot of emotion, and we feel like everybody's coming at us, and we feel like everything is racist based, and we're not focused on, I'm not going to say we, I'm just speaking we in general. There's plenty of people who are tapped in, who understand, but there's a lot of emotional confusion that keeps getting pushed on us. And that's what I don't like. And I think it's happened to a point now where it's so much since Trump has gotten to office, that everybody is feeling this emotional thing where we need to get together and boycott, and we need to not buy this, and we need to be mad about this and mad about that. And it's total confusion, because like I said, all the things we need to be thinking about right now is AI, right? Not DEI. AI is the biggest thing we need to talk about. That I'm going to get my boy Abraham back on the show to talk about AI, because that's the biggest thing. And then we got to focus on owning where we live, right? Focus on our communities, focus on our kids and education, to make sure our kids are being taught marketable skills. That's what's going to make the biggest difference. So, but anyway, let me move on. The last thing I wanted to talk about was Diddy. Now, I was watching a portion of Pierce Morgan last night, and you know what? The Diddy case is interesting because I've been looking at this for a while, and I think Diddy's definitely strange. He got some things going on. He's not living the normal everyday life of just a guy who has a wife or a girlfriend. He's got a lot going on. But the point is that, is he actually guilty? That's what I've been wondering. Do the feds really have something on Diddy? So, and how would it be if he walked? Could he actually walk? He said scheduled to go to trial in May. Let me play a little bit this from Pierce Morgan and talk about that. Let's see. There we go.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here with a laundry list of names. I'm just letting you know that it's absolutely possible. I believe it's absolutely been done in the history of not just rap, just of powerful men, powerful people in all different kinds of industry have used their power to kill people when they feel it's necessary.
Now, this section, they were talking about how, is it possible that Diddy or anybody with money could have someone killed, meaning mainly they're talking about rappers. And, Lord Jamar is saying that, yeah, it's entirely possible. It's probably happened. Mark Garagos and the other lawyer is saying that it more than likely has not happened. Now, when it comes to people with bread, even if you're talking about somebody who's not a street guy, like a Drake or something like that, I do believe that, listen, if you have enough money and you want somebody knocked off, you can probably do it. But the only thing is that the issue is, did Diddy do something like that? Because for years, everybody's been talking about, did he have something to do with Tupac being killed and XYZ? But I don't know. Even if you have the money to get somebody killed, you still have to realize it can always come back to you. So, but if you have enough money, you can insulate yourself too. You can pay somebody who pays somebody to pay somebody. So it's all possible, but that's what they're talking about. So I'll let this keep playing, and then they're going to talk about Diddy's actual evidence against Diddy.
And the smart ones don't get caught. The smart ones have lawyers and stuff saying, oh, they would never do that. Like the smart ones cover their tracks, but don't act like it's not within the realm of possibility. This is not some sort of conspiracy theory that people are pulling out their ass. Like, this is real shit. Like, I'm telling you, coming from New York and all of that type of stuff, I know about street culture, and I know this is absolutely within his power, and we're just going to leave it at that.
All right, Matthew, I'm surprised. Well, hang on. I'm surprised, Matthew, to hear you give this kind of blanket. No rappers have ever killed anyone. I mean, you can't honestly believe that.
Well, maybe not in New York. I can tell you there's no one in California who's represented more African Americans and Hispanics and rappers than I have. It's not close. It's not close. And I'm not saying that that's an impossibility, but literally you can't find a successful conviction of a rapper who was predominantly a rapper for committing any crime. Shine is a perfect
How
example.
about my brother
That
Chi
cat,
Ali? How many years he got for murdering someone? Look up a guy named Chi Ali. He was a rapper that ended up killing his girlfriend's brother for doing some wildness.
Nah, that was
There's an
bro.
example.
That was different.
And
well,
he served his
I'll
time
give
and
you
he's
an
out.
example of.
Nah, Chi Ali was so different. Chi Ali was not about anybody getting paid. Chi Ali murdered his sister's boyfriend, if I remember correctly. That was something totally different. Chi Ali didn't have no bread like that, and it wasn't about him. It wasn't, totally different. Lord Jamar, sorry.
Since there was a reference made to the gang culture. Killing someone in a personal battle is not considered gang related in any way. You can't use the gang to enforce
He didn't
rules
say
on
you're now
social.
moving the goal.
Which they would get away from saying he's a spectacular human being and just deal with the facts and say him and his wife were swingers, or he was in a relationship that was open and they like to do these certain things. Keep it to that. When you start saying he's a wonderful human being, you open yourself up, or the defense opens himself up for arguments to say, no, he's really a violent person and he's involved in this culture and that culture, when you don't need it, because there's no evidence that shows that this guy, you can't convict someone of paying commercial sex workers for committing commercial sex work.
Okay.
I think he's walking. He should.
Can I add one thing? Can I add one thing?
Is that legal?
We already talked about.
Yeah, Brandon,
we already talked about federal. Real quick, we already talked about federal conviction rates. I have family members that went down on federal charges. The federal government don't just take lightly the investigations that they do. They do it over a course of time. They have a bunch of evidence against you. That's why their conviction rates are so good. And I think that for them to get Diddy, they don't have to do this. They wouldn't pursue this if they didn't have something, in my opinion. So for them to get Diddy on this, I think they have some substance there. Now, can he walk? That's the beauty of defense attorneys. That's the beauty of people being able to put together a good argument that can get you off on technicalities, on the fact that you can impeach witnesses. I mean, you go down the list. That's why they pay these defense attorneys so much money, because as you can see, you have high profile people that may have done the crime, but they get off.
Look, let's be clear.
That's the way our justice system works.
Let's be clear. When someone like O.J. Simpson can get cleared, then anything can happen.
All right. So, but OJ, man, OJ was a whole nother story. But anyway, I think the newest documentary on Netflix on OJ gave a new light. I don't know if he did it or not, but if you watch the newest documentary, I don't know if you already thought he did it. It ain't gonna change your mind. But if you didn't think he did it, you might change your mind after watching this documentary. But as far as Diddy, so apparently, from what I'm hearing, the evidence they have is about 3 ex-girlfriends. And according to Garagos, Mark Garagos, who was on that panel, he's saying that they really don't have a lot of information as far as sex trafficking. That's what he's saying. But we'll see what the government has. I mean, the government conviction rate is very high, but it's interesting. The outgoing DA, before he left, he was bragging about the fact he did indict Sean Combs, and then he indicted Eric Adams. Now, Eric Adams is out of the fire right now via Trump. So Trump hooked him up, got him out of the fire. But we'll see. I don't know if Diddy, I think there's some stuff there. Is there enough stuff there to lock him up for the next 30 years? I don't really know. It might be a stretch as far as the sex trafficking, because again, I'm not saying that Diddy is innocent with everything, but the sex trafficking thing seems very complicated. And if he had, a couple of girlfriends, and Cassie included, and had them have sex with prostitutes or whatever it was, if these people are willing, it might be weird, it might be freaky to most people, but if they're willing participants, I'm wondering if the government's going to have enough to lock him up as far as the sex trafficking thing. And as far as the underage victims, none of that's criminal from what I understand. It's all civil, but we're going to see what happens with Diddy. I'm going to sign off. I appreciate all the new subscribers. It's a Crucial Convo podcast. We're going to do more and more lives. I shoot every Friday. We do a lot of the panel conversations every Friday. And of course, the interviews here and there throughout the week. So keep rocking with me if you're building on the channel with me. And keep, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that button and like and comment. Peace.